want to welcome back our audience to Season 7 of Tech Conversations, presented by the Florida International University Radcliffe Art and Design Incubator. I am your producer and co-host, Maggie Salas Amaro, and today we have the pleasure of talking to one of Miami's own, starting in the Apple TV Plus hit show Stick, and I want to welcome in Peter Dager. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. What's up, everybody?
So I'm sure the audience who's listening and watching you, because we also dropped this on our YouTube channel, is going to be so excited to listen to a little bit about who is Peter Dager and who is Santi on the show. So let's kick it off. Who is Peter Dager?
Who is Peter Dager? The existential question. Let's see. I don't know. Peter Dager, is from Miami, born and raised. He loves FIU. He's got a lot of friends in FIU. He's a family man. I'm going to go down to Miami pretty soon, I think next week, to see some family. But he's also like I don't know, I guess I'm talking about myself in third person. Sounds funny, but I'm a New York soul. I love New York and the artistry and the way of life over here, the sort of freeness of the soul to explore whatever it needs to explore, to then later express it. So that's kind of me. Like I'm always in between my artistic self and then the family sort of social dynamic. And those are the two I'm always sort of fluctuating to and from.
It's interesting you say that, New York, because every time I'm there, I feel like I'm a different person. I think it releases your soul there, right? You're artistic. People that are artistic thrive in that environment, right? The fast-paced.
Well, I think New York, and it depends on the borough you're in, Queens is different than Brooklyn, and Brooklyn than Manhattan, and the Bronx is certainly different than everything else. But Manhattan specifically, that little island, it's the land of independence. It's the land of you go there with yourself in a dream and something could happen. And so what it does is when you are in that place and you focus on yourself so much, which is hard to do in a place like Miami because you got your family, but if you just go to Manhattan by yourself, you start to realize all these dreams, wants, desires, things about yourself, and it bleeds into an artistic sort of way because life becomes sort of like poetic because you're the main character of it. And it can be hard at times because it's lonely and it's a journey and you miss people. But the reason I love New York is because it always has a way of paying off, and there's a sort of magic in the air still, it's truly still, that makes that place unlike any other place, I feel like.
Let's talk about the journey to getting that part on Stick, because I did see most of your interviews on the Today Show on CBS and all of the ones that you've done. I even watched some with the producers and the creators of Stick that said that for your character specifically, for Santi, right? They saw, over 500 people? Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah, they saw 600 people and then they saw me and they're like, that guy, that's the guy we want. I'm kidding. But they saw me in a taxi cab, the directors. They saw a lot of people for it, and casting had given them a couple of options and they didn't see them in the casting options. And they said, is there anybody else that you like? And Rachel Tenner, the casting director, sent them my video and said, I think he's pretty right for it. What do you think? And they told me that they saw my first audition video on a phone in a taxi cab in London, and they were watching it, and John and Val, they're a directing couple and they're married, and John was like, look, this is the kid. And they started watching it and they're like, yeah, that's the kid. And so then after that, I had 5 callbacks, and I never really thought I was going to get it until maybe the screen test with Owen. And then even after that, I had another audition. So it was a long a month and a half process, but in a way I needed to go through that because then when you get on set, there's a sort of confidence that comes with going through 6 rounds of audition, feeling like you earned the part. So I get to go to set and feel really confident in my idea, in my interpretation, and in my choices as an actor, because I really do feel like I earned it.
That's interesting. Yeah, because the more callbacks you get, I guess the more you feel like this is my role, like I deserve this.
For sure. Yeah. No, if they call you back once or twice, and it happens with independent movies. Like Apple TV has a lot of funding and money, and the project was coveted by the studio. Also, Apple is a great platform because it's more about quantity over quality. So they're really only making stuff they believe in, and you could tell with the money that they put behind it. But like for an indie movie, for a movie that has like a $2-3 million budget, 5 even, the audition process can be less extreme sometimes, and you're like, you got this character with only like 2 or 3 auditions, and you're like, okay, I mean, I got it, but like, wow, okay. Whereas 6 auditions, you're like, oh my God, okay, what else do they need to see? Like, you feel like you've got the whole thing in a way, which is good.
Don't think it's not the same with media people like myself that have been.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's executives. We go through the same thing. We go through rounds of interviews, and we have to interview with everybody and their creator. And then sometimes you get the job and sometimes you don't, as much as you think you deserve it. So it's a little bit about the same, I think. I think for you guys, it's a little bit of a letdown when you don't get a part that you feel you were perfect for, or like you said, that you earned it. So I think the disappointment is different when we don't get the news that we're expecting, right?
For
Yeah.
sure. But I'm sure you feel that same sort of
Yeah,
disappointment
yeah,
in
I
many,
have.
yeah. Yeah, especially things you really want or that
Hmm.
next step that you want to take that you feel you deserve, but the world doesn't see it yet. You know, yeah, life is full of disappointments.
Yeah, it is, but it's also full of a lot of great news and success. So you have to balance them out and enjoy
Uh-huh.
them while you have them.
Exactly, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about the storyline because the last episode is interesting. For those that haven't watched it, it's going to be a spoiler, right? I invite everybody
Yeah,
to go to Apple TV Plus. Like Peter said, they don't have a roster of things like a Netflix would have, but are very specific about the projects and the content that they
yeah,
have on their very selective
yeah.
platform. And this show has the element of golf. So let's start with, you were not a golfer when you started this show. Are you a golfer now?
I am a golfer now. I'm gonna go play in Miami a little bit. We're gonna go play, taking the family to play the Biltmore, and want to get out there in Miami. I love it. I think it's a great sport to, again, sort of be by yourself with, and it's therapeutic, and you can go by yourself for 4 hours and be surrounded by beautiful nature, meet a couple of
Mhm.
strangers, and just work on something on your game. The thing I like about golf is you can see like it's a direct reflection of what you're doing, where the ball is going, you know,
Mhm.
your mental and your physical state, and also if you've been practicing, it'll show up if you've been doing all the right things in your game. And there's something really cool about just having like a result, a tangible thing that you can be like, this is a product of all my work. And you just see yourself getting better or worse. And then you get to know why. You can't really hide from it. So that's what I like about the sport. It's so like alone. It's such a personal journey. But yeah, I love it now. But also correctly, yes, I was not a golfer before this. You know, it's
Yeah.
not the thing to do in Miami. It's not the sport. I mean, now it is, but in Miami, you grow up, you're playing baseball,
Yeah.
soccer, football, although I was
Yeah.
good at football, Lord knows. But yeah, golf was not the thing growing up.
I mean, I have to tell you, I've tried it a couple of times and I love it. Like you said, I think it gives the mind a rest. You're surrounded by, a lot of green and, water and serenity. I think it's a sport of the mind, if anything, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is, right?
yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about, that final episode where it's sort of a cliffhanger. And then we get the news that, season 2's coming. I mean, Santi's father shows up. I mean, we've been hearing,
Yeah,
right? We've
yeah.
been hearing about everything from beginning to end about this relationship. Even how Santi was adverse, right, to having, Owen Wilson's character
Right.
come in and be his daddy. So tell me a
Right.
little bit about the transition. We're learning about Santi in every episode and the background behind why you were
And I
reluctant.
actually want to pick you up even before you finish that sentence because
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is really important. I think
Yeah.
the thing that I love about this show so much, it's a show that takes big swings. All the characters are different. They all have different points of views. They all have different lived experiences, and they're all from different generations, except, well, some of them are from different generations. And you think that when you watch the pilot, you're going to get a show that is always feel good, that is always charming and funny and great. It's not. The show takes you through hard moments, through disagreements, through conflict, through characters not getting along, through a little bit of murkiness. I want to say that because that's the point of our show. I think what makes our show different a little bit from another show like Ted Lasso is that there's a bit more conflict. But what it does is when you make it to episode 10 and 9 and 8, even 7, when you see why the characters behave in certain ways, then as an audience member, you can understand why they were like that in the beginning of the show. And then you can also see them grow and move past that because the whole show is about people. You meet people and you go, which is what happens in life. You meet a person and you go, oh, that's interesting. Why do they do that? And so what you do is you pass judgment like on any normal person. The show teaches you about these people as the show moves forward. And so then you can really go, oh, wow, that's why. Now I understand you. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about our show. And to conclude my point is in episode 10, you never stop learning about these characters. Even in the finale, you learn about Santi's character. You think you know how impactful that situation is with Santi and his father, Gary. You think you know, but you don't until you see him show up. You see him ruin a tournament for his son, take all his momentum, crumble it up and throw it in a garbage can, and then not feel bad about it. And Santi, wants his father's love and it's unresolved. And so that's the thing I love about episode 10. It's an episode where you continue to learn all the way through the end of the first season. The audience never stops, the world never stops becoming more full and more specific, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I watched it and it's like a film of life. You question why like you just said, you question why certain people you meet, family members, why do they act this way? But you have to go back to the beginning and find out what conditioned them to act that way, their reactions, right? And I think we pass judgment quickly without knowing the background. And I think this show really does a great job, like you said, of presenting that, because the characters do start out in a certain way. But as someone like myself who's an enthusiast of media, I mean, I've spent my whole life, 30 something years, working in media and buying shows and creating them and producing them. I know that the show sets up later why these people act this way, but not everybody knows that you learn through the process. And I felt that when you kind of said enough, with Santi's dad, you brought back your original caddy. I think the audience applauded that, right?
I think so too. And it's also, look, he's 17. Santi Wheeler is 17, and it's hard to be a kid, a teenager, and make your own decisions. It's just hard. It's hard to make a decision and suffer the consequences. And we see Santi for the first time in this show make a series of decisions that affect him personally. And that's how he learns. Like, okay, so no, I need to do this, and now I know. But it's the first time we really see, I think it's the end of the episode, maybe sometimes with Zero, but when Santi chooses Price, it's the first time we see this kid, I think, really mature and become a man in a way, because he goes, that doesn't serve me anymore. That's not in line with who I am. That's in the past. Who do I want to be right now? And what serves me now? And it's Price, and it's this whole journey, and it's all these people. So yeah, and lastly, what you were saying, I just think our show it's well written, because there's a lot of content now that is trying to grab you within the first 20, 15
a lot
minutes
of fluff,
of the movie. Well, they're just trying to grab you, and what they do is they tell you everything that's going to happen in the first 15, 20 minutes. They give you lines that just tell you exactly how people feel. In our show, it's not like that. It's a bunch of questions like, what, why are you, wait, what, and then if you stick around, you get to have the feeling of release. There's just a bunch of tension that gets created, and then it gets released. But a lot of media nowadays, I feel like, since they're just trying to hold your attention, and our attention is all about giving you what it is very early on, and then it's not substantial.
That's called instant gratification. So
Oh, for sure.
I think this show was, like you said, I think it was well positioned, it was well structured. Like, we learned through each episode, we get some answers. And I think that your character, as soon as I saw you pop on screen, I was like, let's cheer him on, because basically, Owen Wilson was a stalker chasing you down, and you were like, who is this guy? What does he want, right? He has his own baggage. He has his own baggage, right? And we see some of that play out, right, in videos that he watches, his relationship with his ex-wife, the selling of the house. His world is crumbling. And basically, the way that I saw it as I watched through and saw your relationship with him develop, is that you guys are sort of saving each other. Am I okay with that assumption?
Yeah, I think the show is about a father looking for a son and a son looking for a father, and they don't know it. And also, I think it's about two people, when we meet them, who have let the game of golf derail their lives in a way. Like, Price was a great golfer, but Price also struggled towards the end of his career and had an infamous YouTube video that sort of made him go viral and messed up his head. And since then, the game of golf has always been different. He let his personal life bleed into the golf world. Same with Santi. When his father walked out on him, he let his personal life bleed into the golf world. And so then golf was tainted, because it reminded Price and Santi about a personal part of their life, which they wanted to move forward from. And it isn't until they meet each other that they're like, right, golf doesn't have to be about my personal life in that moment. It can be something for me to escape that. We can help each other grow and make a dream come true. And because I do love this sport, but it even takes Santi a while to fall in love with golf again. But yeah, no, this is a story about two people who need each other. They don't know that they need each other, and who find out how much they need each other by continuing on this journey. And the vehicle is the game of golf.
I'm so glad that, I usually have the opportunity to interview some people and talk about things that I'm also passionate about, which this show is one of them. And it's been such a treat to really listen to you, watching your character and then watching Peter Dager, the real person, talk about it. As we wind down this conversation, what is next for you? Tell us a little bit about what the next couple months look like. When does Stick 2 start production again?
I think we'll be starting later this year. I think maybe at the end of the year. I don't have the for sure dates. And I think the cool thing is that we shot season 1 in Vancouver. So this time around, we're staying in the country. They haven't told us where yet, but that's cool. So I'll be close to home and I can go visit. But besides that, I'm in the mix for a couple of other projects, but Peter's superstitious, so he won't think about that. And now I go home to Miami. You're in Miami, right?
I am in Miami.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Born
go
and
home.
raised here. Yeah.
Really? Where'd you go to high school?
I started at Conchita Espinosa, which is a very
Oh my
well-known school
God,
here.
you went to
Yes.
Conchita.
Conchita.
Oh my
And
God.
then I went to Inter-American Academy, and my kids, both of them are already, one of them is close to your age. Not to date myself here. He attended San Brendan High School and the other one attended Columbus. So
Oh my God,
Miami school.
I'm a Belen boy, so.
Oh, Belen.
No, I went
And
to Belen and then I went to New World. But yeah,
yeah,
wait, so they were right next to each other, same Brendan and
yes,
Columbus. Are they
yes.
close in age?
They're 4 years apart.
Oh, wow. Okay.
One was leaving, the other one was entering. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Locura.
Yeah. One of them graduated during COVID, the high schooler.
That's how. Wait, so
was you?
he's the one that's my age. You're younger.
Yes, San Brendan. Yep.
What is he now? 22, 23?
Yep, he's 23. He's waiting to get results from the MCAT. He's going to medical school. He attended the FIU Honors College and he got a seat. They offer early admissions to the Wartime School of Medicine, and he was one of the people chosen. He just has to pass his test now, and he should be getting his score anytime soon.
And where is that school?
At FIU. FIU has a medical school and a law school now. Yeah.
So he'll stay here.
He's looking. He hasn't taken that final decision, but he's also looking at FSU as a great school, and UF and UM as well. But he'd love to go somewhere different. And I always encourage them, do what the heart tells you.
My cousin she just took her MCAT and it's tough. Yeah, it's a
very
tough process. Yeah, it's
very tough.
like it's a privilege being an actor because it's like a life, and in media too, because it's a life full of, it's hard. I will say what we do is hard and people don't understand it, and it's very specific. Like being an actor, it's a very specific way of living, and there's a lot of sort of people that make you feel like it's not hard work, and it is. But what it isn't, I think a lot of the time, is tedious. It's not like this tedious, physically tiring thing. It's more of an emotional exhaustion, a mental exhaustion. So I'm always marveling and just completely in awe of people like my cousin who is taking her MCAT and her son, and I just think, which is all mental exhaustion. Are you kidding me? I think it's
He's very mentally exhausted. I saw the books he was using and I was like, thank God I studied communications.
Yeah. I'm completely in awe of people who give like their life to helping and serving others. It's like, it's crazy. It's so beautiful.
It causes a lot of anxiety, as you can only imagine, and I'm sure that in your line of work it also causes a lot of anxiety waiting for those calls and going through the different callbacks. So as we end the podcast, do you have any inspirational words for anyone that might be looking to be on the same track as you? Piece of advice?
Anybody that wants to be an actor?
Yeah. Is it persistence? Is it faith? Is it perseverance?
It's an understanding of self. It's I would say, I know it's hard depending on the age that you're at, but if you don't know yourself, you cannot portray the lives of others. And so really take the time to isolate, to choose isolation, to go through the uncomfortableness of isolation at first, but then to truly sit in it, because what will happen is you'll start to understand your life better. You'll start to see how you can move through the world and how you are as an observer and as a person by yourself. And the more that you get to know yourself, the more you realize you have, you know why you are angry, you know what makes you laugh, you're just more in touch with that. And the louder your inner voice is, I think the easier it is to express other people's lives. So take the time to be by yourself, to question yourself, to ask yourself tough questions, think about your parents, think about your friends, what people mean to you, and take time to really listen to that inner voice, because then everything will get easier. I'm not saying it'll make all the roles come to you, but it'll make you an actor that is prepared. If you know yourself and if you're comfortable with yourself, it'll make you be able to go and play a frantic person and all that. Because why? Well, because you won't care about what other people think, because you have yourself. But if you're caught up in how others perceive you and you don't really take time to look inward and feel confident in what you're discovering, you'll never be a free actor, because you'll be always caught up in the way that others are perceiving you. And so it'll show up in your movements and your speech patterns. There's going to be a hesitation. Anyway, so that'd be my advice, just to take time to get to know yourself and listen to your own voice, so that you feel freedom as an actor and you get to explore whatever you want to explore.
I want to thank Peter Dager for joining us during season 7 of this amazing podcast, FIU's longest running.
Congratulations, by the way, season 7. That's crazy. Wow.
A little pilot project, like I told you at the beginning.
How many episodes a season do you do?
So we started doing just 10 at the beginning, and now we've increased it to like 20 a season. So last season we did 20 episodes. We're only You're episode number 10 this season. We already have a roster of other people we have to interview. So we're thankful for the leaders and the vision and the RA+DI Foundation. Without them, we would not be here. And I want to thank you, Peter, because you are an inspiration. And I can't wait to see what you do next. I'll be following closely, and let's keep in touch.
Bueno, the next time we got to do it in person at FIU.
Oh yeah, we have an area that we do in person. So whenever your management sees that it's great, bring you in and we'll do it in person.
Let's do it for next time.